everybody, it's BigPapaGrump. Welcome to the Board of Doom podcast, sort of Zoom call. I don't know how this is going to look on camera, but on screen to the left, to the left there is GoldenBoy. To the right there is Junior, and the bottom left is BigShez, and bottom right is CJTruth. This is all based on the order in which they got into the call. So this is actually attempt number 3 at doing this. So yeah, the last week's was epic. It was awesome, but I forgot to hit record. So we're going to try this one with a different topic, and today's topic is going to be the what is your, because it's Royal Rumble weekend when this is being filmed. This is being filmed Thursday, and the Rumble is Saturday. So figure might as well keep it topical. What is your favorite Royal Rumble moment? Now, we're not going to necessarily keep it down to one because we're just going to get off on tangents. I don't want to get off on a rant here. But oh, come on, really? Nobody? So, but we're going to just kind of just go around the horn and pick one. So let's just go clockwise. Junior, start with you, because I don't think I've started with you yet in any of these attempts. So what is your favorite
reason
Rumble
for that
moment? Or at least one of your favorite Rumble moments?
I mean, all right. Well, let's just go 2016 entrant number 3, AJ Styles. I mean, that was huge. That's probably one of the biggest free agent signings WWE has like ever had, at least recently. And I mean, he came in and basically kind of from the stories backstage and stuff, he came in, he did his dues, and then he won Vince's like love, and now he's one of the mainstays on the show. So without 2016, there is no the house that AJ Styles built. Then there's no, Omos, which maybe not a bad thing, but hey.
Kind of brought it back down to earth there, didn't you?
Yeah, it was great until I realized what he's doing now.
Well, I mean, okay, without that, we don't have that. Say what you want about Cena, but that trilogy was great.
That SummerSlam especially.
Yeah, SummerSlam was one of my favorite matches of all time.
Yeah.
And plus, one of my favorite things about, especially since the WWE has kind of gone back and corrected it, the slow reveal and then the swelling pop that he got when the word phenomenal came across. Yeah. When we were watching it live, we just saw this for like 30 seconds. But when you go back and look and you hear the like they were waiting like I am what, then phenomenal came out, it showed up on the screen, and then they just popped. So I love going back and watching that.
Did anybody not have the AJ Styles moment on their list?
I had it listed.
Always have it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's 2 or 3.
It's a no-brainer
that are probably on everybody's list, at least 4 out of 5 of ours, because the one that I'm thinking of, Junior wasn't born yet. So, actually, wait a minute. I'm not sure if GoldenBoy was born
My favorite moment is when Vince won the Royal Rumble in '99 too.
God. We're not doing that list today. This isn't best and worst. What do you got, CJ?
Well, I was going to go with AJ Styles because I've been AJ Styles fan since NWA Wild Time. But honestly, I think the other moment would be the Rey Mysterio winning the Royal Rumble in honor of Eddie. Goes over an hour. The whole time you're sitting there, you're pulling for him the whole time. And then to watch him do that last head scissors over the top rope for the elimination, there wasn't a single person in the place that didn't go nuts.
What number did he? Oh, go ahead.
I think he came in. I want to say he came in at 2.
I was going to say it was like 2 or 3. I don't think he was 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he was in there forever.
It was 2. Because they just did a countdown of like the top entrant for each spot or whatever like that. But he came in at 2. He comes out in the car. He does the Eddie shake. The crowd goes nuts at that point anyway, because Eddie's one of the greatest of all time. You can't find anybody who's going to argue that point. Eddie Guerrero definitely goes down in history as one of the greatest of all time.
True indeed.
Shez?
Well, so I'm old. I got to go with old stuff because that's what I do. And being the mark for this guy that I am, it's Ric Flair 92. I mean, I'm the biggest Flair mark on the earth, but that was, and thinking about it now, I think the thing that sticks with me, not just Flair and the performance and everything else, but Bobby Heenan, like his whole roller coaster of emotions that he was going through at the broadcast table, pulling for Flair and, just losing his mind, on the microphone. I distinctly remember that, more so than the match itself as I get older. But yeah, for me, it was Flair 100%.
And what's funny, I got a couple of things. One, that was the moment I was referring to that I wasn't sure if, I knew one wasn't even born yet. I don't know about the other one. But as far as, first of all, with that match, one, it was a terrible Rumble match. Like, if you go back, it's almost unwatchable, except for, oh my God, look at all of this junk in the ring and Ric Flair.
Yeah.
And then of course it's also noteworthy for Hogan trying to ruin it or like undermine it by getting his with the thing with Sid and all that. Couldn't give Flair a clean win. No.
Right. Yep.
And then the other thing is, back on somewhere I have a photo from, I believe, 5th grade, where I had brought in, I believe it was the last day of 5th grade, I had brought in one of these like book of wrestling superstars, and I have a picture of him, of Shez, holding the book open to the Ric Flair thing, going like this. So yeah,
you remember that actually? No, that's funny.
I came across the picture a couple years ago. It's in a box somewhere, so I can't. If I'll dig it up and show it on camera if I ever find it.
That's
but
awesome.
But yeah, it's But yeah, that was definitely on my list, was the Ric Flair win, because it was even though, because we had been watching NWA for a long time,
right?
Because I started watching NWA it was during, because I think you are the one that told me, it's like, hey, look, they're having this best of 7 series for the United States Championship. Like,
yeah,
you mean the Intercontinental Championship? He's like, no. And you got to watch, and it was one of the Magnum TA Nikita Koloff matches, and that was like my first experience with NWA wrestling. Mm-hmm. And remember, like, I was just hooked, and watching Flair, and then seeing just how awesome Flair was, then seeing him win. I am getting a potential spam. Uh-oh. Anyways, seeing him win the WWF championship was just such a surreal thing, because you still couldn't believe it's like Ric Flair was just on TV a couple of months ago with the NWA title,
right? And
now he's here, and it was just such a surreal moment. So yeah, that's why it was on my list.
And of course, they kept it off with the tear in my eye promo, after the fact, which is goes down in the annals of history. So.
Thank you. Hey, yeah, just to add on to that with the 92 Flair thing, after he won that, the feud leading up to WrestleMania 8 then was with Savage, correct?
Yep.
And that's when Flair dropped some of the classic stuff with him and Mr. Perfect at his side. The pictures with Miss Elizabeth, and how Miss Elizabeth was Rick's before he was Randy's and all that. So that made for some fun build up to Mania 8, where Savage ended up pinning him.
Yep.
You got some classic stuff after that Rumble win as well.
Right.
Well, that's going to be an edit. So I was just waiting for anybody else to add on. All right. Okay. I was waiting to see if CJ was going to add anything, but obviously not. We're going to move on.
So was that what? I can go back. Is that was so? Well, because you were talking about like the Randy Savage and stuff. Was that was after they had changed it to, was actually for a title shot?
Yeah, because that Royal Rumble was for the WWF Championship, because it was held up or whatever.
And then because of the ending with Hogan and Sid, they ended up feuding after that, and then Flair and Savage started going at it.
Right.
Yeah, because I believe, if I remember correctly, Hogan was supposed to wrestle Flair, but there was some Hoganing going on, and it didn't.
Yeah, there was some Hoganing going on. Right.
Yeah. So, all right, Golden Boy, you're up.
All right, so obviously there's a lot of great moments and stuff like that. I'm just going to go off of personal experience, and this really wasn't one of the most well-received Royal Rumbles in recent memory, but I'm just going with it because it's the only Royal Rumble I've personally attended, and that's a 2015 Rumble in Philly. Reigns won with The Rock's help, and he ended up getting booed out of the building. But
I had that on my list.
there were some classic moments in that Rumble outside of the finish. One, obviously, Daniel Bryan getting eliminated early in the Rumble because, you know, this is a little bit after 30 and his rise to the top. So when Daniel Bryan got dumped out of the Rumble, I mean, this crowd went absolutely ballistic. And, you know, you go back and rewatch them, they're booing everybody out of the building the entire second half of the Rumble. And it was like a legit mob mentality. I mean, you know, Truth over there, he's probably gotten in some mobs back in his day, you know, in the reptile black market or whatever. But anyway, like it was legit. Everybody was just miserable. Everybody was booing everybody. It didn't matter who was coming out. I mean, The Rock couldn't even save it. Think about that. The Rock, you know, back in 2015. But
didn't Bray eliminate Bryan? Didn't Bray eliminate him?
I can't remember exactly. It was, I believe it was Bray. The first half of the match,
were feuding at that point, I think.
Yeah, the first half of the match was Bray pretty much eliminating everybody, and then eventually Big Show and Corporate Kane started eliminating everybody, and they were free with Reigns. So, but just some side notes from that Rumble, which I think were some pretty cool moments. Outside of the Rumble matches in their own, the triple threat match for the title between Lesnar, Cena, and Rollins was awesome. That was one of the matches the entire year in 2015.
Amazing match.
Yeah, that's when Rollins was doing his heel shtick with J&J Security and all that. But, man, they ripped it up. And then two other just side notes from the 15 actual Royal Rumble match. An underrated pop for me and an underrated return in Rumble history was actually Bully Ray coming out at number 3.
In Philly. Yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, he was in TNA for years and years and doing big things and doing his singles runs and this and that, and doing a lot of great stuff, you know, aces and eights, all kinds of good stuff. And so when he came back, you know, they came back as the Dudley Boys, but obviously there was a little bit of speculation. Hey, are they going to let Bully do a little bit of a singles run in WWE, which obviously never came to fruition. But at that time for a return, that's an underrated return that a lot of people don't really talk about. And then the last part of that 15 match, the history maker that still doesn't get enough credit and the longest lasting Royal Rumble participant in Royal Rumble history, Curtis Axel, who was never eliminated from the Royal Rumble match and it's going strong. That's when he entered the Rumble at number 6, but he was never eliminated, but WWE just seems to erase that from its history. So just a little tidbits from the 15.
Outrage. It's
He got
outrageous.
thrown over the next night on Raw, I think. Somebody threw him over because he was complaining and he was, I was never eliminated, and somebody threw him over the top rope.
It wasn't the Rumble match, man. Curtis Axel still going strong. All these hour finishes, the Rey Mysterios, the Flairs, you know, all these guys going over an hour. Nothing compares to the Axeman.
All right, I got a couple that I wouldn't mind covering. Most of mine are pops / returns. Like first, you can't talk about the Rumble and big moments without talking about the Edge return.
Yeah.
You know, that is
That's
probably the hardest that my TV speakers have ever shook was that crowd. That was one of the most insane pops, period.
When you watch it, you still get goosebumps watching that.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Another one was when Jericho came back at number 2. I don't even remember what year it was, but what was it against Ziggler, I believe.
Yeah, because Ziggler
He
was
and Ziggler were 1 and 2. That was a good moment, and because nobody was expecting it, because Jericho was one of the early ones that was really good at trolling that he wasn't anywhere near the Rumble or anywhere near where he was going to be returning. Like he utilized stuff like Twitter and Instagram early on, be like, no, here I am at this Mexican restaurant in Santa Fe, you know, and the Rumble's in Boston, you know, and then he shows up. Try to think, like I had the on my list, like on my phone in the notepad where I was jotting down ideas. When I got to the Roman Reigns, it just says Roman Reigns boo, because that was like, and especially when you look at the Rock's face during, he's like, what's going on? I'm the goddamn Rock, you know, like he had that look on his face, or it was just one of those, I told Vince this was a bad idea.
What?
Like it's like I left filming Ballers for this.
Was it the year before that Batista won the Rumble? Was that 2014?
Whatever year WrestleMania 30 was.
Yeah, that was the year that wasn't that the year that Rey Mysterio
got booed
30 because he wasn't Daniel Bryan. Because I remember you looked at me when we were watching that and you were like, dude, they just booed Rey Mysterio. Now he's not getting booed because he's Rey Mysterio. He's getting booed because he's not Daniel Bryan. And yeah, and that was the year the Batista won, because those 2 and 2 went hand in hand, because that was a terrible decision.
Yeah, well, that's what kind of resurged the Bootista, you know, kind of brought that back, which led to Blue Tista.
Blue Tista was a classic.
Yes. Let me see here. Some of the other ones I have. When Becky Lynch replaced Lana in the Rumble, like that got a huge pop, because nobody was bigger at the time than Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch was the most over superstar in the company. So and so as far as those, you know, that's a pretty good, and you can't really, you gotta at least address Brock Lesnar eliminating the first 13 people into the Rumble before I guess Ricochet was greased himself up and he couldn't get a hold of him. I don't remember how it went, but that was when he got
Ricochet kicked Brock in the balls.
Well, that was right before Drew Claymored him out of the ring.
Brock was toying with Ricochet. I just watched this Rumble recently.
Oh no, wait a minute. No, did Drew come into the Rumble before Ricochet?
No.
Okay.
Ricochet came in. Brock was messing with. I literally just watched this Rumble like the other day. Brock came in, or Ricochet came in. Brock was messing with him, and then he was like dead in the corner. Drew got in. They got into a face-off, and then he kicked him in the balls, and then got Claymored. And then every time Drew eliminated somebody for like the next 5 minutes, he just stared at Brock after it.
Yes, I remember we were sitting there laughing about it.
Yeah, because he would eliminate somebody and then just go right back to Brock.
It's like, I see where your focus is, Drew. I just thought of another one.
What about Lesnar when he killed Taker, when he was the American Badass, when Lesnar won his Royal Rumble? Like that was one of those times where you're like, yeah, Vince likes big meaty, beefy guys. So here you go. This is yours. But that spot, because Lesnar's actual emotion, because he's always so all the time, the emotion he had and the way he literally, it looked like, oh my God, I can't believe this just happened. That was one of the best. Like, that's one memory I have, is when he freaked out after winning.
Well, Lesnar, at that time too, the roster was so bloated because you just got, you're just a year or two past the Asian angle and all that stuff. But like, I mean, from when I was watching wrestling, it was kind of strange for me because I never really seen like a young guy come in and just go like that. And then to have him with all the stuff with Taker and the American Badass, not even outside the Rumble, but outside of all that stuff when he ended up breaking Taker's hand and they had the Hell in a Cell matches and that kind of stuff. Like,
right.
I've seen guys get that, especially with people like The Undertaker.
And his angle matches too.
Yeah.
You also can't forget the star-making moment when Maven eliminated the Undertaker.
Who?
But no, the other one I thought of that was
The legend
like
that
such
is
a great
Maven.
moment that I think those of us that were watching it together kind of realized like how potentially big this moment was Keith Lee.
Mm.
You know that, oh, come on, big boy, or whatever it was Brock said to him. And then I believe didn't you had Brock, Keith Lee, and Roman in the ring at the same time?
Strowman, Braun.
Braun Strowman.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Because he eliminated both of them at the same time.
Wait, so go back though. I'm really confused. Are you guys saying the name wrong? What was the guy's name?
Sorry, Tight.
He eliminated who?
You know, what about me? What about Maven?
Oh, okay. Okay. I thought you said, all right. Now I got it. I understand.
You know where we're going?
Back. Yeah,
I remember watching Tough Enough the year Maven won, and when Maven won, I was just like,
wait a minute.
okay. I was expecting the big guy to win, but because even back then we knew that Vince McMahon likes big sweaty men. We all knew that. And when he won, I was like, all right, sure, it's not going to go anywhere. And then he got his Undertaker feud that lasted like one match, and I think he just faded into oblivion after that.
So wait a minute, but let's go back to Tough Enough. The biggest moment that we missed is arguably one of the best off of Tough Enough, and that's Benoit, Guerrero, Hardcore Holly,
Daniel Puder. Yeah.
Hell out of Daniel Puder, where the kid was literally in tears. He is crying in the corner, and Holly goes, "It's not done yet." And they pick him up and they beat him some more.
That was the 2005 Rumble.
Oh my God. But in all honesty, that was one of those ones where don't talk bad about the business. You're not even an MMA guy. You have training. Nobody knows who you are. Nobody cares. You're not like Riddle can come over and be like, yeah, I was in the UFC. Legit. We know he won. Great wrestler. Great all-around fighter in the UFC. Cool. Puder didn't even have any real main pro fights. And you come in there and you try to make a gold medalist look like an ass. Mm-hmm. That was stupid. Then you want to try to get... Why would you go after the guys you went after? To make a name against Benoit, Guerrero, and you're getting punished. Welcome to Wrestler's School. Welcome to Wrestler's School.
Knowing what we know about Benoit, he got off light.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and think about
dark. That was really, really dark. And should not that edited out.
It was dark.
Not
no, that's staying in.
Because that's not okay.
All right, so
well, hey, two things. Well, thing with that, I'm just going to add on real quick.
I was just playing Renegade. That's all.
Since Benoit was brought up, 2003, another Rumble in Philly, a side match that is definitely going back to worth watching was Benoit versus Angle for the WWE title.
Yeah.
That's back when Heyman introduced Team Angle because Brock was coming after Kurt. So this is Team Angle Kurt. But you go back and watch that match. Those two beat the hell out of each other. There was no funny business. Team Angle got booted right before the match even started. There was no interference. It was clean. And those guys went to war, man. And after the match, when they came back, Benoit was in the middle of the ring and he got a standing O from the Philly crowd after that match. Definitely was something to go back and worth watching if you guys ever get a chance.
There was about 96 German suplexes in that match.
Yeah.
That would mean that
held on to the waistlock, too, by the way, just in case anybody was wondering.
Another sidebar with Tough Enough. Tough Enough almost got me killed.
Hold on. You're muted. Junior, because you kept trying to get a point in and everybody kept talking over you.
No, I was very intrigued because he said it was 2003 and that was a Rumble in Philly as well. Is that what he said?
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
they've had a bunch of Rumbles in Philly.
No, then I got a trivia question wrong, and the trivia site was stupid because it said no city has hosted the Royal Rumble more than 2 times. Philly would have had 3, at least, with 03, 15, and 18.
Maybe it was an
Sorry.
old trivia.
Maybe you
game.
did. Maybe you did the site a long time ago.
Yeah, I guess, but that just makes me all right. That's because you said Rumble in Philly. I was like, there's another one. Because I knew they had at least 2, but okay, that was it.
Okay. Goldie.
You can tell my tough enough story.
Yes, now you can tell your tough enough story.
All right. Well, first off, let's not forget, guys. Daniel Pewter was on later seasons of Tough Enough. He wasn't an OG. All right. He wasn't an OG like Maven. But anyway, I was 12, like 11 or 12 when Tough
You're
Enough
probably the only person that's ever called Maven an OG.
the OG. And the one thing I remember about Tough Enough, I remember about this show. You guys remember Madison Rain's husband now, that Josh Matthews. Remember him being on the show?
Yeah.
Vaguely.
Yeah,
Commentator and a backstage guy for WWE.
Yeah, no,
Commentator
yeah.
for TNA. Yeah. In that show, he couldn't stand that he couldn't do the moonsault. There was an episode where he just kept retrying the moonsault, and he was like the one guy with like balls out of the group because he just kept doing the moonsault. Well, me watching that shit at 12 mean that I had to try to do a moonsault, and I landed on my head multiple damn times, moonsaulting off the damn couch and lion salting off the damn couch. I got a couple in, but needless to say, I've landed on my head a couple times. Not as much as Truth, as you could tell by the flatness on his head, because he can't do a moonsault.
There it
I
is.
got the flatness, but what I want to know is how much damage was done to your parents' house? Every time your head hit the floor, how many floorboards had to be replaced?
I was a smart kid, dude. I did at the neighbors.
Okay,
So your parents, how much did your parents pay out in property damage?
okay, we got less than 2 minutes. So we're gonna go around and Junior. Who are okay? All right, real quick. Prediction for surprise entry.
This year.
Yeah, just why not?
Oh shoot. Well, Johnny Gargano. I'll put it out there. If he's coming back before he has his kid, it'll be at the Rumble, since it clearly wasn't yesterday.
All right, Shez.
Ooh, wow. The Good Brothers. Not sure why they came up in my head, but you know,
Both
they'll
of them.
have a little reunion with AJ or something.
True.
Do a little too sweet.
Oh, it's true. It's gonna be Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle's gonna pop up. He's gotten cleared. He's in the best shape he's been in a long time. He's gonna pop up.
It doesn't matter.
I'm
'cause
just.
you're not
isn't
gonna
really a
watch
surprise.
anyways.
This isn't a surprise. I'm just saying it to upset Truth, but Gunter.
Gunter.
I hate you. That's not the guy's name.
It's now, boy.
It's not the name. What name is that?
And I'm just.
Can
I'm
we
just,
stretch
on,
this
man.
past a minute?
just because we I'll mute y'all. And less than a minute. All right. We will. I'm gonna go with Yana Peraza.
Okay.
I saved one Rumble moment for last. I just got to get this out here quick. One of the best